And the Swiss government has made it clear that Switzerland should not profit from the fact that sanctions have been put against certain individuals and companies.
Prosperity. It comes in many different forms. It can be a tangible thing that we can hold on to, or simply it can be an idea of a way of life. But as we look further into learning about new countries and cultures here on FTD Facts, we find a country that breathes prosperity. A country that not only has gained so much wealth and happiness for its citizens, but has symbols that we see of hope and health. Let's start off by diving into the name of this beautiful country. Where do they get the name Switzerland from? Well, Switzer is actually an obsolete name for the Swiss people. And this was used around the 16th to 19th century. However, this word Switzer is derived from an ancient German dialect known as Alemannic. And believe it or not, the name Swiss actually does not come from the name Switzer. It's not a short form for it. This is because the English word Swiss actually comes from a French word known as Suisse. But now let's take a look at the country itself. What is unique about this country? How many people live in this country? What is the size of Switzerland? Because on a map, it does look kind of small, right? Well, for the country itself, firstly, it has over 8,401,120 people as of a 2016 estimate, making it the 99th most populated country in the world. And like I said, although the country might not seem pretty big, it actually has a pretty impressive population density. This is because with its land and population, it has approximately 202 people per square kilometer, making it jump up to the 63rd highest in the world. And when it does come to land, all of these people are stretched out over a landscape of 41,285 kilometers square, making Switzerland be the 132nd largest country in the world. Now, one thing that's really fascinating about this country, it is one out of 2 countries in the entire world that does not have a rectangle flag, but a square flag. That's right, there's no rectangle here. Besides the Vatican City, Switzerland keeps its square shape with a red backdrop and a white cross in the middle. And although the cross on a flag has been used in regions like Finland, Sweden, and even Switzerland way back in the day during the Swiss Confederacy in the 14th century, the current square red flag with the white cross in the middle was first introduced in 1800 during the 100-Year War. And by December of 1889, it had officially been adopted as the flag of Switzerland. So Switzerland is a country that has one of the best economies in the entire world, despite the fact that it is a small-looking country. In this case, size doesn't matter because its nominal GDP currently sits at 19th in the world, equaling $659 billion. However, its GDP per capita is second in the world. It's really good, equaling up to 78 to 80,000 per year. And because of all of this, it is a positive country and one of the most developed countries in the entire world, with a Human Development Index equaling 0.939, and although that might not seem like that, that makes it the second best in the world. And this is because of things like education and economy and jobs and all that sort of stuff. And when we talk about jobs and we talk about the wealth of Switzerland, we should probably even mention its import-exports, because this is a very important thing about Switzerland. Now, like I said, we all know the Swiss is known for its chocolate, but overall they are the 15th largest exporter in the world, with $302 billion in exports, and the biggest of this is actually gold, coming in at 27%. Wow. As well, you've got packaged medicaments coming in at 13%, and human and animal blood at 8.6%. But as for imports, it equals $268 billion, and gold is also their biggest importer, coming in at 31%. So why so much gold in Switzerland? Well, we all know of Swiss bank accounts and all that jazz, but it has been estimated that 90% of the world's gold has gone through Switzerland. So that's right, even gold from places such as India has actually gone through this country. And if we look deeper into this, 5 out of the top 8 gold refineries have headquarters or are located in Switzerland. And the largest of all of these, and the largest in the world, is Valcambi. Located in Balnera, Switzerland, she puts out an estimated 1,400 tons of gold. And actually, for our fan base, we have a lot of viewers from India. You guys might be pleasantly surprised to know that this refinery is owned by an Indian man. Believe it or not, back in 2015, this refinery was purchased by Indian entrepreneur Siddharth Mehta for $400 million. And with all this gold and all these exports, keep in mind, remember that Switzerland is a landlocked country. So you might be wondering, how do they get all these exports and all this gold out of the country? Well, although Switzerland may not border an ocean or have a coastline along an ocean, the largest port in the country is the port of Switzerland, which is located in the famous Rhine River. Now, this port is actually home to 3 different ports within it. And these 3 ports are the Port of Basel-Kleinhonigen, Port of Muttenez, and Port of Bursfelden, with the largest being the Port of Basel-Kleinhonigen, equaling 701,091 meters square. Now, with all this gold, one thing it's definitely gonna have to do is protect itself. Because like I said, Switzerland is a landlocked country that is surrounded by 5 different countries. And those countries are France, Germany, Austria, and Italy, and of course the smallest one being Liechtenstein. Now, one thing that's really fascinating about Switzerland when it comes to its defense, did you know that on its major points that go into the country, such as its bridges and tunnels, they are all indeed rigged to blow at any time. Now, this is a defense mechanism to stop other countries from invading Switzerland. And from anywhere over its one of 3,000 points, they will blow up bridges and tunnels, preventing foreign invaders from coming in. And yes, they will blow them up, and what's even crazier is that they've only officially announced that there's 3,000 spots. There could be way more. And actually, on the other side of these bridges and tunnels, there is hidden artillery that remains a secret that will prevent any attempts for the invaders to remove the debris. And not only that, but when it comes to its military, did you know that Switzerland is the first country to ever institute mandatory services from every able-bodied male citizen? And besides Austria, they are the only Western countries to date that still do it. And this is all because Switzerland likes to preserve itself and maintain happiness among its citizens. And when it comes to happiness, did you know that Switzerland has some really unique laws for days like Sundays? For example, although some tourist attractions are opened on Sundays, most stores are actually closed that day. And as well, on that day, it is considered an offense if you mow your lawn, or make loud yard work, or do garbages and drop bottles in bins, along with hanging clothes out in your backyard. Heck, even washing your car on a Sunday is theoretically prohibited. And all of these rules are put in place to enforce peaceful measures of quiet. And it's not just Sundays as well, because after 10 p.m. you could theoretically get in trouble for flushing a toilet in an apartment building, or even slamming a car door after 10 p.m. as it could be a noise complaint. So what do you think about Switzerland? Is it different from your own country? What do you like about it so far? Here on FTD Facts, we have been learning about many different places from around the world, and it's great to peer into a world that we are not quite familiar, and that world is Switzerland. My name is Dave Walpole, and I want to thank all you guys out there in the real world for joining with me and learning more about Switzerland. Now keep in mind, Switzerland is a huge country. There's so much to talk about, so if we miss some facts that you know of, put it down there in the comments section below. And on top of that, if you have a recommendation for a future country or a person or anything at all, let us know down there, and if it's a good one, we will look into it. Other than that, check out Grammarly.com. These guys are our sponsor, and they have an amazingly great and easy program for you to improve your English skills. The link is down there below. Go check it out. It's totally free, and it will benefit your skills online. Gotta say, it's really quite handy for typing everything online. It makes emails just a breeze, but the link for that is down there. Also, on top of that, my Instagram is down there if you guys want to contact me directly. But this is Switzerland, a country that just loves doing things its own way. Sure, it may be one of the most expensive places to live because of its taxes, but the truth is it has health and opportunity at its fingertips. And although, like many countries and many stories, they may have their own low points, overall, it is a country that focuses so much on happiness and the well-being of its people. A nation that we have just hit the tip of the iceberg when it comes to its culture and people.
So starting off at number 10, this ban of face coverings did not actually just come out of nowhere overnight, but this was actually the result of years and years of debating. The proposal, strongly supported by Swiss People's Party, or the SVP for short, this party campaigned with slogans such as "Stop Extremism." And the Swiss government, though, had argued against the ban, saying that it was not really up to the state to dictate what women in Switzerland should wear. Now, this proposal was launched in 2016 by the Egurgen Committee, and this committee is made up of numerous members from the Swiss People's Party. There have been other liberal politicians that have joined the campaign, all in the name of protecting female rights. When it comes to the country of Switzerland and how they operate a system of direct democracy, and this allows the vote to go ahead. So any topic can actually be put to a national vote as long as it gathers 100,000 signatures in supporting it. Official results showed that this measure to ban face coverings was passed by 51.2 to 48.8%. So you can see that there's a slim majority who supported it. It is surprising though that support for the ban grew to this extent when we consider the following information. According to the research done by the University of Lucerne in Germany, almost no one in Switzerland wears a burqa, and about 30 women wear the niqab. About 5% of Switzerland's population of a total of 8.6 million people are Muslim. So you can see that they are a very small minority, and even a smaller minority wear the face coverings that are being banned in this proposal. Now, for number 7, I want to get into the details of the ban. What does the ban actually entail anyways? Well, nobody would be allowed to cover their face completely in public, whether they're in the shops, whether it's a mall, or on the streets. But there are some exceptions though, including places of worship. And now the proposal for the ban, however, does not specifically mention the terms burqa or niqab. And of course, these are face coverings that are traditionally worn only by Muslim women. The ban also does target protesters and rioters who wear ski masks. But despite this, the vote was commonly referred to as the burqa ban. As I mentioned, the government and parliament opposed the nationwide ban, and they have a counter proposal, and that is that people would be required to show their faces to the authorities if necessary for identification. For example, if you are at a border to travel, or if you get pulled over by a police officer, they need to know that who they're speaking to is the actual person. The government of Switzerland feels that this is a much better alternative than to just banning them completely. Moving on to number 5, the people of Switzerland, they're given a direct say in their own affairs because, like I mentioned earlier, the country does fall under a direct democracy system. They are regularly invited to vote on various different topics and issues in Switzerland, whether it's national or regional. And this is not the first time actually that Islam has been the center of a Swiss referendum. Back in 2009, many people might remember that citizens went against government advice and voted to ban the building of minarets. And this proposal was also put forth by the Ergurkigen Committee and strongly supported by the SVP, which said that minarets were a sign of the Islamization of Switzerland. Now, continuing with number 4, how does this actually tie into the pandemic and wearing masks? Well, the proposal to ban the face coverings in Switzerland, they actually predate the coronavirus pandemic. Now, face coverings for health and safety purposes are actually allowed under this proposal. The face mask ban would prevent people from wearing ski masks in public, as well as coverings like the burqa and niqab. It will not, however, ban head coverings that still show a person's full face. So that is key to know, that it's not banning Muslim attire, it's strictly banning just full face covering. For fact number 3, one important thing to note is that this ban does not come into effect immediately. It has simply been an approved proposal. But officials have 2 years to write legislation to put this ban into effect, and from there, that's when it will be completely enforced. And although no specific face coverings were mentioned in the proposal, the SVP, they have said that their campaign was a war of civilizations, in which it was defending Switzerland against, and I quote, the Islamization of Europe and our country. Now, surprisingly, it was not just non-Muslims who had supported this ban. There were many in the Muslim community who supported the ban as well. Take, for instance, Imam Mustafa Mehmeti. He told the BBC in an interview that he thought that the motivation behind the campaign was probably Islamophobic, but he did say that he ended up supporting the ban anyways because it could actually help to liberate women in Switzerland. Many other people from the Muslim community say that the full face coverings is not a must in Islam, so whether they ban it or not doesn't really make a difference. And the point I want to end off on is that this referendum outcome means that Switzerland will follow France, which banned wearing a full face covering in public back in the year 2011. But it's not just European countries that have banned full face coverings. There are currently 19 nations that have banned face coverings like the burqa, some of which are Muslim majority countries. Now, the list of the 19 nations include Austria, Denmark, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Tajikistan, Bulgaria, Cameroon, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Gabon, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Uzbekistan, Sri Lanka, Latvia, Switzerland, of course, and the Netherlands. However, the country of China has banned them in certain places, not a nationwide ban. Now, Brazil is the largest country in South America and Latin America, and it's the 5th largest country in terms of population and size in the entire world. Now, the population growth has been rapid, and Brazil is a country of young people. Human settlement in Brazil began thousands of years ago. Now, currently, Brazil's population is an estimated 210.87 million people, and that brings its population density to 24.76 people per square kilometer. And as I mentioned, Brazil is a massive country. Its total land area is 8,515,767 square kilometers. Now I want to look at the country of Switzerland. The country of Switzerland is a landlocked country, and it's a diverse mix of people with different languages spoken across the country. The country has 4 official languages, and it's claimed that 22% of the population is made up of foreign workers and temporary outside residents. The general perception is that Switzerland is a relatively small territory, so how does its demographic stats really compare to the rest of the world? Let's take a look. Switzerland's population is 8.54 million people, and its population density is 206.97 people per square kilometers. And yes, it's a pretty small country. Its total land area is 41,284 square kilometers. And guys, in some of these Which Is Better episodes coming up, since some of these countries that we're comparing are competing against each other in the 2018 FIFA World Cup, we're going to also be sharing some facts about their FIFA World Cup teams. Starting with Brazil. Now, Brazil is a fan favorite. It has appeared in the World Cup 20 times, and it's won the World Cup championship 5 times. Brazil's FIFA ranking is in 2nd spot. And Brazil's star player is the one and only superstar Neymar. Okay, so now let's see how Switzerland compares with Brazil in terms of their FIFA statistics. Switzerland has appeared in the World Cup 10 times, but they haven't won any FIFA championships yet, and their current FIFA ranking position is in the 8th spot. And entering into the 2018 FIFA World Cup, their star player is Granit Xhaka. Now I want to explore the financials and the economy of both of these countries. Brazil uses a Brazil real, and 1 Brazilian real equals 0.30 US dollars. In Switzerland, they use the Switzerland franc, and 1 Swiss franc equals 1.05 US dollars. Now, for Brazil, it's the 9th largest economy in the world. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development named Brazil the 8th largest destination for global foreign direct investment flows in 2015. In recent years, Brazil has received more than half of South America's total income from foreign direct investment, and the United States is a major foreign investor in Brazil. Brazil's GDP is a total of $1.8 trillion, and its GDP per capita is $15.1 thousand. Its total exports, according to the latest numbers, are $182 billion. Now, Brazil's top 3 exports are soybeans at 10%, iron ore at 7.2%, and raw sugar at 5.7%. Now, for Brazil's imports, that number sits at $135 billion, and their top imports were refined petroleum at 5.4%, vehicle parts at 3.6%, and packaged medicaments sitting at 2.4%. Now, looking at Switzerland. Switzerland is one of the world's most competitive economies. It's a diverse and mature economy with opportunities in all sectors. Switzerland has strong business ties with several nations, the EU nations in particular, and it has partners outside of the European Union, which include China. The GDP of Switzerland is $659 billion, and its GDP per capita is $62.9 thousand. When we look at the estimates of the latest numbers, its total exports were $302 billion, and gold is its top export at 27%, followed by packaged medicaments at 13%, and human or animal blood at 8.6%. Now, Switzerland's imports are $268 billion,
gold being the top import at 31%, packaged medicaments at 6.2%, and cars at 3.8%. Okay guys, now I want to compare the cost of living between these two countries. Which country is cheaper? Which country is more expensive? The cost of living in Brazil compared to Switzerland looks like this. So food is 64% cheaper in Brazil, housing is 65% cheaper, clothing is 27% cheaper, transportation is also 27% less in Brazil, and personal care is 48% less. Entertainment is 42%. So looking at the total, the cost of living in Brazil is 52% cheaper than living in Switzerland. Now I want to take a look at the national debt and the debt per citizen, and then we can wrap up this episode. Brazil's national debt is $1.53 trillion, and its debt per citizen is $7,414. Now, Switzerland's national debt is a lot less at $223.45 billion, and its debt per citizen is a lot higher at $27,127.